So today we're going to make a guessing game app. Come with a bank and some variables and some random picks, all sorts of stuff. So you start out, we're going to use an image for a logo this time for the title of our game. So I'm typing in guessing games, and then I hit image search, and there's some pretty good choices here. I've chosen this first one, so I'm going to right click on it and save that image as. I'm going to give it a simple name, call it guess, and simply save it to my desktop. Now that we're in App Lab, start a new project, create new, and it's probably a good idea to name it. Let's name it Guessing Game. And of course we're going to go to the Design tab and design it first, and we want to get that logo that we just saved up here. So let's put an image up there, not take up too much space because that's just the title. And down here under image, right here under its properties, I'm going to hit choose. I'm going to upload. I go to the desktop and find that guessing game logo, upload it and choose it. What if I can resize it? Fit, fill, there. Even better. That looks pretty good. So in the guessing game, they're going to pick one of three numbers. And then you hit a play button and the computer picks a number, and we either pay them some points or we subtract some points. So the next thing we need is three little radio buttons, and they're kind of small, so let's resize them. And once I get one that's the size I want, instead of trying to drag the others over, I'm definitely going to duplicate that for number 2 and duplicate that for number 3. And to align them, to tell you the truth, there's this X and Y position. So if we make all of their X positions, if we make their X positions, or their Y positions 150, then they are all going to be the same up and down on the screen. And then from the side to side, we're just kind of, this one needs to be in the middle. Close enough. Now these buttons are awesome, but they need some labels. One of the things with radio buttons, you want to make sure that all the radio buttons are in the same group. And you do that because when you run it, if you click one, you want the other one to click off. If these are in different groups, you could have 2 or 3 of them on at the same time. So radio button groups are important. We're looking good. We got radio button 1, radio button 2 is in the middle, radio button 3 over here. I'm going to grab the labels under my text. This is just going to be 1, but it obviously needs to be bigger. Let's bump it up. Let's center it. We could do a bunch of other design, but for right now, and I'm going to duplicate that design element for 2. I'm going to duplicate that design element for 3. You know, it's trying to help me line these up. But again, I'm going to do that Y position. That's 190. That's 190. That's 190. Now they're all the same up and down. Okay, this one obviously needs to say 2 right here in the text, and this one obviously needs to say 3. Labels are just like that. They just kind of label things. You don't really have to do a lot with them. But the user is going to pick one of these, and then the computer is going to pick. So let's put another label down here, and this is going to announce comp pick, or let's call it lucky number, something like that. Number. Obviously that font could be bigger, more prettier, center it. Look good. And the lucky number is going to pop up in a text area. So let's grab a text area. We have to resize it. I have to shrink it up a little bit because we're just getting a 1, 2, or a 3 there. So this is a pretty good looking design. We've got a nice logo. We've got 3 radio buttons that are labeled. We've got the computer's going to pick a button. All we need is a play button now and then a score. So let's grab a button, maybe a little bit bigger. And definitely take your time and fix these up, color them, and make them exciting. The text here is going to be play, all caps. Yeah, I guess we don't need the exclamation point, and that font could be a little bit bigger. That's a decent looking play button. And down here I need a score and I need a text box. This one looks pretty good. Wonder if I can just put a line around it. No, I'm gonna have to click on it and duplicate it and pull that down, and click on this, duplicate it and pull that down. So this last label is not going to say lucky number anymore. It's going to say score. And this guy is fine. Text area 2, text area 1. That's a great looking layout. All right. Okay. So when we run this, they're going to pick a number and then hit play. If the lucky number pops up, we're going to reward them handsomely. And if it doesn't, we are going to deduct from their score. All right. So let's go to code. Again, this is a 1-button app. So all you need is an on event. They're going to hit a button, and that event is going to trigger everything else we want to do. So it's going to be button 1, and it's going to be a click. But you know what? Before we do that even, we need some variables. We need a player pick, we need a lucky number, and we need a score. Can you see that? How many variables do we need for this app? Well, we need 1 for player choice, 1 for lucky number, and 1 for score. So we're going to need 3 variables. Let's go get them. Variable, and this declares the variable. Choice would work. Player choice is better. And we can start out at 0 if you'd like. We need another one for lucky number. No spaces, please. And we need a third one for score. And we're going to give them 100 points to start with. Yes, it can go up and down. And we're going to start the lucky number at 0. This is looking good. All right. So when we hit the button, we got to make a new lucky number. We got to go see what the player chose and then give them some points or not. So let's make a new lucky number first. Remember that these are declarations. They birth a variable, they create a variable, and this one assigns it. It gives it a name or a value. So right there, lucky number equals, and we're going to use that random function math. Under math down here, the orange blocks, we've got random number, and it is of course 1 to 3. So every time we hit button 1, every time we hit that play button, lucky number is going to either be 1, 2, or 3, and it's going to jump around. It's going to be a random number. Awesome. So now we have 3 choices. Well, we have to figure out what the player choice is. So we can do that with an if. We can say if, get a blue block here. And what we want to know is if this first radio button, this radio button 1, if radio button 1 is checked, then player choice is going to equal 1. If radio button 2 is checked, player choice is going to equal 2, and if radio button 3 is checked, player choice is going to equal 3. So right there in the if, in the condition, if what? Well, let's go see if we can figure out if radio button 1 is checked. Do you see a get checked or a set checked? There they are. Get checked, right? That's what we need. If get checked, and then right here, it's going to be a radio button. Do we have to write that in? I wouldn't think that we'd have to type that in, but looking like we do. Radio button 1. Okay. If radio button 1 is checked, then we need to go back to variables and use the assignment, not the declaration, but the assignment player choice equals 1. Alright, so moving on with our guessing game, we can see that get checked works here. If get checked, radio button player choice equals 1, and we're going to just write it to the screen. You can see that now it equals 0, so we don't have anything checked. If we come over and check box 1, now it equals 1. We can take that right out. We don't need it. So this is working. Player choice equals 1. If they check this first box, all we need is 1 for 2 and 3. So I'm going to grab that, the blue block, and its contents, hit Control C, put my cursor right there, Control V, Control V. So all we need to change here is if radio button 2, player choice equals 2, and if radio button 3, player choice equals 3. Let's put that right in just for fun, just to show you that it works. Right, player, oops, got to take it out of quotes. Now I can run it, hit 2, I should get a bunch of 2s, hit 3, 1, reset, run, let's get me some 3s, give me some 1s, well, it's being stinky, there's some 1s, should be in pretty good shape. Alright, so next, we want the computer to pick a number. Lucky number, random 1 to 3, we got that. When we pick that number, we probably ought to put it in this text box. This is text area 1. So we're going to say set number if we can find it. Get number, set number. Right up there under that lucky number for text area 1. And we're going to set it to lucky number. Right, now we got it going on. We can click a box and we can pick, and the computer picked the lucky number was 3, 3, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, etc. Looking good. Computer's picked, we put its number in, we play. Now what we have to figure out is if we got any points or not. And you know what? We could update this point thing at the very top of this loop. Every time we click a button, we could put our points up there. And in fact, we could put it when the program first runs. So let's do another set number at the very top, right under the variables for text area 2. And we're going to put score there. So that when we run the program, it immediately puts 100 in there. And then we're fixing to change that. We're fixing to either give them 20 points or take 20 points. And to do that, we're going to need some if statements. So back to control, just a simple blue if statement. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put in a comment here. We need some comments. AppLab does comments right there. It's this little gray block. And you can just type in anything you want. So I'm going to say check for win or loss. And up here at the top, for lucky number, I'm going to say set or get lucky number. Put it in the box. Right here, I'm going to put a comment and say check for player choice. Oh look, that really cleaned things up. Here we know that we're getting the lucky number. Here we know we're checking for player choice, and here we know we're checking for win or loss. All right, so all we need to know is if player choice equals lucky number, we're going to give them a bunch of points. Else, if player choice doesn't equal lucky number, we're going to take some points away. So I take it back. We're going to need an if-else. There it is. Let's put that one. Let's try that one. If player choice 2 equals lucky number. Does that work? Yep. If player choice, it has to be exactly the same thing you typed up here. If player choice equals lucky number, let's give them 100 points, right? So points is score. So under math, let's do this, or actually under variables, you need this assignment. Let's say score equals. Now you got to take the points that are already in there, so you got to say score plus how many points you want to give them? 60? Let's give them 60 points if they win. Else, same thing. Score equals score minus 20. Let's just do it that way. 20 if they lose, 60 if they win. And then we have to update the score. So we need this block right here, this set number block. I'm going to copy it, bring the cursor all the way down to the bottom. Very last thing in the, very last thing in the loop, outside of all the ifs, all by itself, set number. No, I need this to be text area 2, actually, and this is going to be score. That was the update. Text area 2 and score. Let's try it. Run. I'm going to pick 2. I hit play. It's 3. I lost 20 points. I won big there. I know it goes about 2 times before it switches. I'm up pretty big. I think it's going to go 2 again. Don't think it's going to do 3 again. Yeah. Ooh, I'm cashing in. So I'm up to 280 points. So hope you enjoyed this one. It's not too hard, but it's got a lot of good things. We got some variables here. We got some nice if things. And at this point, I think you'd probably want to introduce functions. So a function takes a block of code and gives it a name. So right here where it says get lucky number, let's write a function. Let's come down here and write a function called get lucky number. Okay? And let's take all that lucky number stuff, control it, control X, come down here, control V. So now all we got to do is call get lucky number, and here's the function call a function. We got to put it up here. Get lucky number. So we put all that in a box, and now we just call the box. All of that does it. Let's do the same here. Check for player choice. Let's say check, or let's just say player choice. Make a new function. Going to call it player choice, no spaces. Then I'm going to take all this player choice stuff. My screen will let me. I have to. There we go. Check for player choice all the way down there. Control X. Get the cursor here. Control V. So in order for all this to be called, I have to call it. I have to bring this up and say, what did I call it? Player choice. So now when the program gets to that, it's going to jump down here and do all of that stuff. And then the last thing is check for win. So let's just call it this check win. Let's write one more. Now you can put it anywhere. We can put it here or at the very bottom. Let's put the very bottom. Let's call this one check win. Awesome. I'm going to grab this check for win loss. Control X chops it out. Get down here. Control V puts it in. So now we need a check win. And our program looks a lot better. It just has 3 lines here. Get lucky number, player choice, and check win. This is really update score. Let's do that just for the fun of it. One more function. I'm going to put it right there on top. I'm going to say update score, no spaces. Let's set that guy right there. And even though it's on top of these, it won't happen until we call it. So let's call it with one of these, and it goes last update score. There we go. Get the lucky number. See what the player chose. Check to see if it win, and then update the score. All of these are down here. And if we did our job, cross your fingers, when we reset and run, it should work exactly the same. Okay, so it's saying player choice is not a function. So here I figured out my problem. My problem is I made a variable called player choice, which is okay, but then I made a function with exactly the same name. Can't do that. So that's a no-no. So let's call this, how about I call this get player choice. Get player choice. If I change the name there, and I change the name here, get player choice, and they're typed in exactly the same. Let's give it another shot. So this problem comes up quite a bit in AppLab. We've got our code here, but it wasn't working, so we refresh the page. So before you give up in AppLab, try refreshing the page. Just reload the page right there. And then when we run this thing and we pick a number, we got it right. 60 points right off the bat. There's Guessing Game. Have fun.